Good evening. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, May 14th Groton Town Council Committee of the Whole. All councilors present with the exception of Aubrey, who called to notify she's running late from a work commitment. Calendar and communications. Councilor Baumgartner.
Everyone had a good weekend. Actually, just before this meeting, I stopped by the Rain Garden at the Human Services Building and noticed a lot of the plants are starting to sprout. So happy that despite the late planting, that we have plants to enjoy this spring. So again, big thanks to the Grosso Tech kids who did all the work that day. So nothing else to report.
Councilor Parker.
Okay, I attended Children's First Groton event at the Groton Public Library. Went to a conversation with Zainab. I apologize if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. Salby at the Norwich Inn and Spa, that event put on by the Connecticut Foundation. And Feed Their Bodies and Fuel Their Minds event hosted at Fitch High School. And I also attended the swearing in of the City of Groton Mayor and Council.
Councilor Franco.
I also attended the Fitch Feed the Body, Fuel the Mind fundraiser up at Fitch for the lunch program. And I went to the Trillium plant sale, and I attended the RTM budget meeting, I believe it was last night. And I have received some emails and some correspondence.
Councilor Heath.
I attended an RTM budget meeting last week, and that's all.
Councilor Atwater.
I attended the CFG event last Wednesday night at the library. I went to the nonprofit organization meeting in Stonington on Thursday morning, and last evening I went to the City of Groton swearing-in ceremony.
Councilor Schmidt.
Oh, I also went to the Children First, attended the cable TV meeting. We were able to have a meeting because we actually had a quorum. And I went to the Eastern Connecticut Tourism District meeting yesterday where we mulled over the budget plan and the marketing plan, which were approved and sent into DECD for their approval.
Great. Councilor Zephyr.
I have no report.
Thank you. I had the privilege of attending the Fitch High School National Honor Society induction, and we should all be very proud of those kids up at Fitch. They do a wonderful job. They're very eloquent, well-spoken. I attended the City Council swearing-in as well. Lieutenant Governor Bisowitz was present for that. There's good news to report on two fronts. First, the Welcome to Mystic signs are back, and they look wonderful, and thank you to Mr. Anderson for his work in carving those. He's quite talented. He's the gentleman that carved the eagle on the Amistad, as well as work at the Mystic and Noack Library. And shout out to the Grasso kids that are working at the Groton Family Farm as well. So they're doing a lot in the community. Approval of minutes. Councilor Baumgartner. Do you want them moved separately, do you think, or as one?
All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole special meeting minutes of March 30th, 2019, as well as a motion to approve the Committee of, and to also to approve the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of April 23rd, 2019. So moved.
Second.
Moved by Baumgartner, seconded by a voice down there. Who was that? Parker. Is there any discussion on either the annual budget meeting minutes or the Committee of the Whole minutes? It's a lot of work that went into these minutes. Anyone have concerns with anything in the minutes? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of approval of the minutes 2019-321 and 2019-323, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We are at 8 right now. Okay, new business. Councilor Parker, 2019-295 FYE 2019 suspense list on page 25, please.
I make a motion to recommend a resolution to, it's a resolution. So no resolution. To approve the FYE 2019 suspension list.
Second.
Moved by Parker and seconded by Franco. Hello?
Hello, how are you?
Good. Would you just tell everybody who you are, please?
I'm Cindy Landry, I'm the finance director. Tonight I have with me Melissa McGuire, she is the tax collector, and she's going to she's going to speak a little bit about the suspense list for you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi.
As required by state statute, we prepare and submit a suspense list for approval every year. While the taxes are suspended, they are collectible for 15 years. Accounts are suspended for several reasons. Mail returned with no known current address, multiple billings with no payment, bankruptcy, deceased, out of business, mobile home, removed or destroyed, and town-owned. For 2019, there were several real estate accounts for mobile homes that were removed due to park owners getting court approval to consider them abandoned and/or eviction. In this case, the taxes are no longer collectible and must be written off. The town also took possession of a subdivision real estate account. We are continuing collection efforts. Delinquent motor vehicle, accounts are reported to DMV, and registration is blocked until the taxes are paid. Motor vehicle and personal property accounts are turned over to a collection agency which has other methods of locating taxpayers that are not available to the town. UCC liens are filed with the Secretary of State's office for personal property accounts, which secures our interest if a business tries to sell their equipment. Health permits can be revoked by ledge-light for businesses with delinquent personal property. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there questions regarding the suspense list? Counselor Atwater?
I have a couple of questions. It seems as though we went through, my years are only through 2017, but it seems as though we went through 2014 with not much in the way of outstanding suspense file. And then all of a sudden it started creeping up, and from 2016 to 2017, the motor vehicles went from 40,000 up to 265,000. I'm on page 26, Cindy, of my agenda. I don't know if that...
I'm going to jump in. It jumped from 311, the number, it's from 311 to 1,678 vehicles according to the chart. And it went from 40,000 up to 265,000.
Oh, they're talking about it here.
Right, so one is motor vehicles and the other one is supplemental, and that's just the dollar value. And I had done a pie chart. About 48% of our list that we have given to you is return addresses, bad addresses. So we can't find these people. So if we turn these accounts over to the collection agency, they use what's called skip tracing. They have opportunities where they can locate a better address for this person. The person becomes aware of they have a tax bill that is owed to the town of Groton. Better results of getting these bills resolved. So that's why in like 16 and 17, the numbers are so high.
If you get a return, insufficient address or no address or whatever, do you still report that to the state?
Yeah, all the motor vehicles and motor vehicle supplemental bills are reported to DMV so that it will stop a registration. So it could take 2 years, because the registration is good for 2 years. So when they have to renew their registration, that's when they would find out that they owe taxes. But if they move out of state, they're not renewing their registration, and so they won't know that they have a motor vehicle bill.
The bills are just returned to us. It's because the information for the addresses comes to us from DMV. So if they have not updated their address, it just continually is returned to us, particularly if they've left out of state. And it'll come back with no forwarding address, and we have exhaust all of our efforts to try to find a good address for them. But if they don't update it at DMV, we're kind of at a loss. So you will find that with the motor vehicles there are a lot higher number of motor vehicles in that year, which is the current year, the grand list of 17.
Would that number go down in the next couple of years because they have found some of these people when they go to register?
Well, what will happen is this is the current year, so next year we'll have the grand list of 18, which will probably be a higher number. But as it goes, the years get older and older. They'll just start dropping off. There'll be less vehicles.
It just surprises me that it went from 40,000 to 265 in
Right.
1 year. I mean,
Yeah.
it seems like an aberration.
I think it's
of some
because
kind.
they're new. See, last year we would have suspended some of 16 already, so now it's another year later, we're suspending more of them. But that first year is always, I think we had that question last year too. The first year is
I probably
always,
asked it.
it's always a bigger number because there are more vehicles that the mail's just coming back to us. And what happens is we don't want to continually spend staff time and postage and printing to continually rebill if they come back to us 2 or 3 times without an unknown address, I mean, with no forwarding order on file, you just reach a point where it's not worth your effort to continue to mail those bills out.
Do you have any sense of what collection you might get through the collection agency? And so, I mean, is it 10% or 50% or?
Do you have it by year or
Yeah, I
not?
have it by year. About,
I think it was one of the attachments.
Page 29.
And then Mr. Burt wanted to jump in and add
I was
something.
going to point out page 29 is really, the page you're looking at isn't really by year, that's just what goes into the 2019 list. It's the page 29 that really shows you by year. That's the important thing. So really, this is a typical year for amount dropping off. Last year was 501,000.
Yep.
It was really high in 17 at 935,000.
But I don't think that they have this one.
oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so, for the last 5 years, I had, did an estimate, not an estimate, an actual what we've collected. And so far, this fiscal year, between the town and what is paid at ANRG, we've collected $149,190. Last fiscal year was $140,839 between the town and the collection agency. 17 was low, it was 96,800 and change.
Okay.
But it seems to be averaging around 130, 140,000 between the two of us collectively working together to bring that money into us. So, like I said, you might be suspending these accounts, but the collection effort does not stop.
Right.
And like I said, we are, 140,000 definitely helps.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add? Councilor Zepari?
I was on page 29, and I was noticing the precipitous drop from 2017 to 2018. What did you do differently?
That was the Boulder Heights. That was a big subdivision that the town took over, and that is why we were so large that year.
We had to, once it became town-owned, we had to write off all of those delinquent taxes on that property.
I see. And now, it's still lower than it had been. The previous year, it was 620, and then you got it down to 514, am I correct?
Right, you went from the 620 to the 935 was like an anomaly. That was the Boulder
Yeah.
Heights. And then last year it was 501, and it's creeped up a little bit for the 514. But the higher number this year could be related to the large number of mobile homes that were considered abandoned at the court.
So you're not going to take credit for advancing things like that. Maybe you can attribute it to President Trump.
Maybe so.
So Councilor Aubry is with us now. Did you have any questions on the suspense list? That's the item we're working on. No. Are there any other questions for Director Landry? Okay, seeing none, we will vote on 2019-295 FYE 2019 suspense list. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. And we are on to Counselor Franco for 2019-322 Financial Assistant to Payroll position on page 30, please. Oh, well, no formal action is required. Did you want to just give a little bit of the background? Or we can let Director Landry do that, and we'll get you the next one. Go ahead.
Okay. If you recall, I had come to you in the past year or so. I had a long-term employee in the finance department that handled our payroll, and she was retiring. And so she retired in October, and we had filled that position, but the person has now submitted their resignation. So now I have another vacancy in the finance department, in the accounting division, that primarily handles payroll. I've provided you some other tasks. While it's payroll and pension, processing is the primary responsibilities. There are a far number of other tasks that are also performed by this position. So primarily because it's payroll and pension, I'd like to request permission to fill this position, to advertise and fill this position again.
Are there questions or comments? Or did you want to add anything, Mr. Burt?
No, it's obviously a very, one of our more important positions. People do like to get paid.
On a regular basis, too.
Yes. Could be a money saver, though.
Any questions? Counselor Zafari?
How does this affect the total number of people employed in your department?
It would just be replacing the existing position.
Okay, and how would it affect the payroll? Would it be a higher pay or lower pay or what?
No, because the person that has resigned, it would be at the same level.
Okay. There's no indication that you wanted a motion at this time. There was no formal action is required.
So we just look for consensus and that there's no objection to filling the position. Any questions, comments, concerns? So is there any objection to filling this position? No. Okay, very good. No consensus. Thank you very much. Okay, so 2019-2223, 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act proposals on page 33. Counselor Franco.
To recommend a resolution authorizing Town Manager John Burt to apply for, execute, and accept grant funding for the Neighborhood Assistance Act program applications for SEC TV, Groton Community Center, Sacred Heart School, Riverfront Child Care Center, and Mystic River Congregant. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Franco and seconded by Heed. And just for the record, I will again disclose that I am on the school advisory board for Sacred Heart School.
As am I.
We've been through this before and there were hearings. Is there any further discussion or questions about this issue?
It's a pass-through.
Correct, it is a pass-through.
Just remind me that, so.
Thank you. That's good to note. All right, seeing none, all those in favor of 2019-222, 2019 Neighborhood Assistance Act proposals, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We are on to page 34, 2019-2183 Sandy Hollow Road tree trimming and limb removal. Counselor Heed.
I'll make a motion to recommend a resolution authorizing Eversource to perform tree trimming and limb removal for maintenance of the electrical lines and poles on Sandy Hollow Road. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Heed and seconded by Aubrey. Any discussion or questions on this? Again, we had the public hearing last week, and there was no comment on this actually, so. Okay, seeing no questions or discussion, all those in favor of 2019-218 Sandy Hollow Road tree trimming and limb removal, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. So, the next item is 2019-327. And this is the Groton sale location. And we have a motion for executive session. Would you read this, please?
I'll try.
Thank you. I have confidence in you.
Yeah. I hereby move that the members of the Town Council Committee of the Whole, Town Manager John Burt, Assistant Town Manager Bob, yeah.
Zagami.
Zagami.
Thank you. Town Attorney Ellen Dugan, Mark Offinger, Chad Frost, Bill Vogel, Keith Hedrick, Jim Streeter, and Peter Legnos go into executive session pursuant to the general statutes, section 1-2006D, for the discussion of the selection of a site or lease, sale, or purchase of real estate by the state or a political subdivision of the state concerning potential location for the Groton sale. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Aubrey and seconded by Heath. So we are voting to go into executive session. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, we are in executive session at 6:51. Okay, we're back in session at 8:05, and we have one item remaining on the agenda, 2019-328 collective bargaining update. Counselor Atwater, please.
I hereby move that the members of the Town Council Committee of the Whole, along with Town Manager John Burt and Assistant Town Manager Bob Zagami and Town Attorney Eileen Duggan, go into executive session pursuant to Connecticut General Statutes 1-200(2) for the purpose of discussing strategy and/or negotiations with respect to collective bargaining units. I so move.
Second.
Moved by Atwater and seconded by Schmidt. All those in favor of going into executive session for 2019-328, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? We are in executive session at 8:06.
I thought we did.
Okay, we are out of executive session at 8:38, and we are done with the new business. I don't believe we have any agenda items to review. Is there any other business for item number 7? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Parker, seconded by Zepari. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? So moved unanimously. We are adjourned at 8:40.